I am live. Alright, I hope so. Today is Friday, August 11th, 2023. It's 12:05 in the afternoon. I'm here outside of my baby's school waiting to pick her up because she's getting out soon. And I want to be here waiting already in line so that she's she gets out early, and or not early, but like one of the first ones out, not like one of the last ones. God, my hair is horrible. I should have brushed it. Anyways, so yeah, I wanted to make a live video because I wanted to read this book, or at least talk about this book, because I've been wanting to do a series where I flip this thing, where I read and talk about the books that I read and just discuss them. And this is a subject that I have wanted to delve deeper into for a while, because I mean, everybody knows the theory of ancient aliens already. I mean, we all know Giorgio, or whatever that guy with the crazy hair, his name is. And I I've always been like interested in that, and I know as much as what I've heard on that show, pretty much. And I've read what's his name? I forgot the other guy's name. The one that transcribed the old. Oh my God, what was his name? Started with an E. But I know about him and his book, and I read that book a long time ago. But I haven't read this one. This is from 2018. So let's see what this is all about. Forward. Should I read the forward? Yeah. Children around the world grow up in belonging to a society, a religion, and an ideology, and minds are filled with concepts even before asking questions. In this way, the ability to formulate spontaneous existential questions is completely repressed. The manipulative strategy is identical to every latitude, from Judaism to Christianity, from Islam to Hinduism, from doctrinal Buddhism to lesser known religions, to the New Age, to the new panacea against existential the new panacea against existential anxieties never resolved. The main characteristic of a conditioned mind is presumption, the belief of knowing everything. The main feature of a pure mind is intuition, but has been unused for centuries, right? We're even going to the point where we're losing common sense. Irrationality, sometimes called logic, is the guide to our thoughts. In the known universe, it is estimated that there are more than 100 billion galaxies. Our small planet is part of a small solar system within a small galaxy consisting of a number of stars ranging between 200 and 400 billion. How many solar systems are similar to ours? How many inhabited planets exist in our solar system? How many civilizations? The imaginary logic would say infinite, whereas anthropocentric dogmatism, stimulated by monotheistic theology, requires us to be convinced that we are just us. But ancient texts tell us that this is not the case. The obligatory passage in this evolutionary period is therefore the total demolition of old reference patterns and old ideologies, because as a great and free thinker said, the new is not an improvement of the old. They are therefore fundamental to those reflection-inducing works that stimulate doubt, which lead to questions. And this is all the more valid when dealing with the text, the Bible, which is defined as the book of books, the sacred book par excellence in Western culture. Many texts have been written that deal with the issue of the possibility of contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations or evolved civilizations of terrestrial origin, and then disappeared. Books that have formulated the hypothesis that such civilizations are at the origin of our creation and our evolution, both physical and cultural. This rich book production addresses the subject by quoting and analyzing some passages of the Old Testament based on the known translations. Those versions of the Bible that we all possess. Oh, that's what I want to know about. That's what I want to read. The where in the Bible, what verses exactly mention it. I hope they put that in here. But is there a chance to learn more, to go further, to transform hypothesis into confirmed certainty, to have accurate findings? Starting from the Old Testament, these pages address the stories of what is often not highlighted or worse, deliberately forgotten or interpreted differently in order to conceal the potential disruptive effects. In this work, we adopt an approach that allows a straightforward, simple, literal, concrete, and coherent understanding that does not require other interpretive categories, much less that of the mystery adopted by theologians, which is designed to accept everything without having to explain anything. The author presents the biblical text with the conviction that those who wrote it did not ask such questions. Thus, Xaviant Haze supposes that Old Testament chapters intended to tell what they had seen or heard about, with that wonder and amazement that have struck those who witnessed the ancient UFO events. This controversial research is presented by the author in an easy-to-read setting and, above all, is suitable for the reader approaching the subject for the first time. All or almost all of those who have been involved in the Bible and have written the story of the people of Israel are theologians and not historians of the professions. So traditional study systems have led to the elaboration of many theologies that are often in obvious and unmistakable contrasts between them. Religious thinking and the need to affirm its contents are always before the need to determine the historical truth. There are at least three major religions in the Old Testament, within which there are developed currents of thought that historically have worked to cancel each other out, affirming mutual insistence. This is what always annoyed me about religion. It's like, they can't all be right, like, they contradict so much. It's like, I mean, they don't contradict completely, obviously. There's a lot of similarities too, but the contradictions are extreme in some cases. It's like, come on. From the multiplicity of Elohim to their possible extraterrestrial origin, from the making of Adam and Eve to the extraordinary character of Enoch, from the experiences of Elias, Zechariah, that was his name, Zechariah Stitchin, not E. It was a Z thing, stupid. And Ezekiel to the hypothesis of the alien Jesus. This work contains an excursus on various themes made with the intent to highlight the fundamental question of our relationship with that book. Do the holders of theological, academic, and traditional knowledge have what they really contain? For me, the answer is absolutely not. In fact, the most important issue concerns the identification of the protagonist of the Bible, Elohim. As is well understood, this is the underlying theme. All other reflections are of much less importance. It is in fact fundamental to determine whether the Bible speaks of the one God or not. The reader will then follow this river of information with inspiration and insights to proceed with personal insights and the initiation of an autonomous reflection useful to understand the real inconsistency of the foundations of that great building which over the centuries was built and presented as true. Reading the book brings into the mind of the reader those doubts and questions that are the true pharmacon, I don't know what that word means, I need to look it up, that stimulates the process of autonomous knowledge independent of any form of conditioning. So the reader will begin to understand that the holders and controllers of the absolute truth have not only confined themselves to not telling, but they went far beyond and deliberately and shamelessly invented what is not in the Bible, producing a story that is imaginatively constructed at the table, using the so-called sacred text as pure pretext, as a starting point to give voice to their artificial creation. That's why we need to have authors like Xaviant Haze, who provide a different reading key and are more respectful of the very concrete stories that the ancients left us. Mauro Biglino. Well, that was a good forward. So it sounds pretty good so far. I'm actually looking forward to reading this. And I hope it does discuss the actual verses in the Bible where it talks about this. Because I know about Elohim. Like Zechariah Stitchin had mentioned Elohim in his and Ezekiel and all of them in his book. but I don't really think he put any of the verses that can remember. Because the reason why I want to have this information, to be honest, is because my dad is a Jehovah's Witness, and he's very strong in his religion. And I have, like my mother-in-law is a Catholic, and I know people that are Christians, and my dad is just so intent that his religion is the right religion. Like he's so certain that all the other religions are wrong, and they're basically what they're saying here, that they were manipulated so that a lot of the truth is kept left out of the religion, so people aren't aware of our true origins and what where we really came from. And my dad has actually said that God is an alien God, like he believes that as well. I don't understand how it portrays into the Jehovah's Witness religion, because I haven't like looked into that religion as intently as other ones. But he has said before that he believes God is an alien, basically from another dimension or form of existence somewhere else, which is what I believe too. Like I honestly believe that, but I don't believe Jehovah's Witness religion is the right one. I think it's just like all the other ones. They manipulated it to basically steer people a certain way and add control over them. But yeah, so I kind of want to read over this first so I could learn all the words that I don't know first and look them up, so when I'm reading it on here I'll be able to explain it without sounding all dumb. So let me get reading.